The screen glowed pale blue in the darkness of the bedroom. Lydia blinked away sleep, rubbing her eyes as she leaned closer to the baby monitor, heart knocking against her ribs. There he was again. Boro. Their 7-foot-tall, fully grown Kodiak bear stood motionless beside the crib, his massive bulk casting a hulking silhouette against the nightlight's soft glow. His broad shoulders rose and fell with slow, deliberate breaths. One enormous paw hovered above the edge of the crib as if ready to intervene. But it was the bear's face, low, tense, eyes glinting with something far beyond instinct that froze her blood. Then came the sound. A low, bone-deep growl. Lydia's fingers gripped the sheets. Evan. He's doing it again. Evan rolled over, groggy. What? She didn't answer. She just pointed at the screen. There was nothing visibly wrong in the nursery. Their daughter, Ellie, slept peacefully in her crib, bundled in a pastel blanket, her tiny fists tucked under her chin. But Boro. Boro hadn't left her side for days now. And the way he stood, like a sentry, like a soldier on alert, unmoving, unblinking, growling into empty space, it wasn't just strange. It was terrifying. Boro wasn't just any bear. They'd raised him from a cub, rescued from a roadside wildlife exhibit that was shut down when Evan, a veterinary technician, noticed signs of abuse and malnourishment. Back then, Boro had fit into Lydia's lap, his eyes half closed with exhaustion, his ribs showing beneath patchy fur. But with love and years of patience, he'd grown into the family. A gentle giant who played in the backyard with the neighborhood kids, snuggled on the couch, well, near the couch, and learned over 40 behavioral cues through positive reinforcement. He was smart, protective, a teddy bear with a pulse. But this wasn't the Boro they knew. I think he's just being protective, Evan said the next morning, trying to sound more confident than he felt. He was spooning oatmeal into Ellie's mouth, but his eyes flicked constantly to the hallway as if expecting Boro to lumber in and disrupt breakfast. He growled at me, Lydia said. Last night, when I got too close. Evan raised an eyebrow. You sure it wasn't just a huff? Evan, she said, her voice low. He was between me and the crib. He blocked me. He bared his teeth. That quieted him. The spoon clinked in the empty bowl. He's never done that before, Lydia added. No, he hadn't. Not even once. Boro loved Ellie from the moment they brought her home. He'd sniffed her bassinet with curiosity, licked her tiny sock-covered feet, and often fell asleep curled up against the nursery door like some kind of oversized guardian angel. But something had changed. Over the next few nights, things escalated. The monitor footage became increasingly unsettling. Each time Ellie stirred, Boro would rise. His ears would prick toward one of the corners of the room. The same one, every time. He'd let out short, guttural growls, sometimes lunging forward a few steps, only to stop abruptly, as if something unseen stopped him in his tracks. They tried moving the crib. Boro repositioned himself accordingly. They tried closing the door. He pawed at it relentlessly until they opened it again. And then came the scratching. Lydia found it first, deep, gouged claw marks beneath the crib. Long, uneven grooves in the hardwood floor. Fresh. Angry. It made no sense. Do you think he smells something under the floor? She asked Evan, staring at the scratches. Like what? Mice? I don't know. Something's off. You see the way he stares at the corner? Like he's watching something move that we can't see. Neighbors started to notice. Mrs. Caldwell from 2 houses down came by one morning with a forced smile and an undertone of concern. Everything all right over there, hun? Heard some, loud noises. Almost sounded like growling. Lydia nodded politely, brushing off the worry. Yeah, Boro's been restless lately. Probably just reacting to the baby crying at night. But it wasn't that. Ellie slept soundly most nights. It was Boro who didn't. He paced. He circled. He watched. Evan decided to sleep in the nursery one night, just to observe. Just to prove to Lydia that it was all a big misunderstanding. Maybe Boro just needed comfort. Maybe the baby's scent triggered some deep instinct. Maybe. He brought a baseball bat, just in case. That first hour, everything was quiet. Ellie dozed peacefully. Boro lay curled up by the wall, head resting on his paws, golden eyes half-lidded. Then, just after 2 a.m., Evan heard it. A soft thump. He sat upright, heart suddenly racing. Another thump, faint, like a footfall, but not from above. From below. Boro's ears perked. His head shot up. Then, like a switch flipped, the bear was up, growling viciously, placing himself between the crib and the far wall. His entire body tensed, claws flexed into the wood floor. "Boro," Evan whispered sharply, stepping forward with the bat raised. The bear snapped his head toward Evan, eyes wild. For a split second, Evan thought Boro might lunge at him. Then Boro returned his gaze to the corner, unmoving, guarding, breathing hard. Evan didn't sleep at all that night. By the 5th night, tension filled every corner of the house. They considered locking Boro out of the nursery entirely, but the idea filled them both with dread. "I don't think he'd accept that," Lydia whispered. "What if he needs to be in there?" Evan replied. "Needs to be in there to protect her? From what?" They didn't have an answer, but the scratches were deeper now, the pacing more frantic, and the bear's body language wasn't aggression, it was warning. Something, or someone, was triggering a primal response in Boro that neither of them could understand. And all of it pointed to one chilling reality. Whatever he sensed, it wasn't going away. And the worst part? It was coming from inside the house. Lydia's hands shook slightly as she stitched the camera into the back of the stuffed elephant. She felt ridiculous doing it, but also terrified not to. The baby monitor had failed 3 nights in a row now, cutting out at exactly 2:17 a.m., always after Boro started acting up. The official reason? Signal interference. Tech support blamed the thick walls and old electrical wiring. But deep down, Lydia didn't buy it. So she took matters into her own hands. The nanny cam she ordered came the next day. She carefully slid open the back of Ellie's favorite toy, a floppy, oversized elephant she carried everywhere, and tucked the tiny lens just beneath one of the stitched eyes. The lens pointed out with a clear view of the crib and the floor directly in front of it. Boro's favorite spot. "I just want to see what he's seeing," Lydia murmured. That night she didn't sleep. She watched, and what she saw chilled her. At 2:12 a.m., the room was still. Ellie stirred slightly but didn't wake. Boro was already awake, lying in his usual place beside the crib. His ears twitched. His body tensed. Then, right on time, 2:13 a.m., his head jerked up. He let out a low, warning growl and lunged. Not at Ellie, not toward the door, but at the floor. Right at the wood beneath the crib. Not random lunges. Precise. Deliberate. Again and again, he swatted at that single spot, snarling, teeth bared, pawing like he was trying to dig through the boards. And then he howled. Lydia jolted upright in bed. She heard it in real time, echoing through the baby monitor's speaker like a war cry. Not panic, not aggression. It was fear. In the days that followed, Ellie's behavior changed. She clung to Boro constantly now, burying her face in his fur, refusing to be set down in her crib. When they tried, she would scream, high-pitched, shrill, panicked in a way they had never heard before. At first, Lydia thought maybe she was sick. They brought her to the pediatrician. "Nothing medically wrong," the doctor said after a full workup. "Vitals are perfect. She's alert, responsive. A little stressed, maybe. Separation anxiety?" But it wasn't just separation. Ellie wasn't afraid of them. She was afraid of being alone. She wouldn't nap unless Boro was nearby. She didn't smile unless she could reach out and touch his fur. Evan stopped brushing his teeth halfway through one night, frozen by a sound that didn't belong. Not crying, not growling, a whisper. so faint he couldn't even make out the words. But it was right outside the bathroom door, just for a moment, and then gone. He rushed out, heart hammering, but the hallway was empty. No one. Nothing. Just Boro sitting at the foot of the crib, his face angled toward the nursery's corner again, growling low and steady. Evan started to dread the night time. Dread 2:13 a.m. He set alarms, slept with lights on, kept the baseball bat propped against the wall, but every night it came again. That subtle shift in the air, the moment of pressure, the strange, whispering presence, and Boro, ready for war. By the end of the week, Evan cracked. "I have to see what's under there," he muttered, hands trembling as he paced the nursery. "I don't care if it ruins the floor. I'm done guessing." He dropped to his knees and ran his fingers along the boards. They were old, original to the house, dark oak worn with time, but one plank beneath the crib caught his attention. It had a fine crack running along the edge like it had been lifted before. "Boro keeps clawing right here," he whispered. Lydia watched from the doorway, arms crossed tightly around herself, eyes wide. "Just be careful." Evan wedged a flathead screwdriver under the lip of the board and gently pried. It resisted, then popped free with a dull snap, revealing a hollow beneath. His stomach turned instantly. Nestled in the space between the joists was a small metal box. It looked ancient, edges rusted, surface speckled with corrosion and something like mildew. A musty, rancid smell wafted upward, thick and cloying. What the hell? He reached in and pulled it out. The box wasn't locked, just latched. He opened it. Inside, a bundle of rotting, faded fabric, folded around something small and brittle. Evan peeled back the layers. At the center was a rusted hospital bracelet. He read the name once, then twice, before his breath caught in his throat. "Ellie Monroe." "Ellie," Lydia whispered, sitting on the edge of the couch, her hands pressed tightly over her mouth. "No, it can't be." "But that's her name. Our Ellie, full name, on the bracelet." "It's not hers. We never got a hospital bracelet when she was born. We had a home birth, remember? That bracelet is old. It's not even the same style." Evan stared at the bracelet on the table, the faded, scratched letters almost glowing under the lamp. "Then who was she?" he whispered. Lydia didn't answer. Neither of them noticed Boro, standing now tail stiff, ears pinned, growling again at the nursery door. The clock read 2:12 a.m.